Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little battle of the BB creams for you. Within the last few months, two companies have come out with really similar products. So I got them both and I wanted to do a little pros and cons reviews. Which one would I try, which one would I skip type of review for you guys. So the products are the NARS Velvet Matte Skin Tint and the Urban Decay One and Done. Now, these are very similar in that they have very similar claims, but they're also different because the finish is completely different for these. The NARS, as the name would suggest, is a matte finish, and the Urban Decay Naked Skin is a luminous finish. So they are a little bit different. I am actually wearing both of them on my face right now, and I will go through a demonstration later. But I think they are close enough that I could be wearing them both on my face right now and you can't really tell. So first things first, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of the NARS, and then I will go through the pros and cons of the Urban Decay. The NARS claims to be lightweight and just enough coverage to even out your skin tone and to reduce redness. It has an SPF of 30, a broad spectrum SPF, which is awesome. So that's definitely a pro. Another pro is that regardless of its claim to be a light coverage or lightweight, it actually has pretty decent coverage. It does come in a little squeeze bottom, which I actually think is a con, because one of the cons of this product is that it feels very heavy on the skin no matter what. Basically, no matter how much you use, it feels pretty heavy on the skin. It's something that I feel all throughout the day, and it's one of those products where I feel like if I have an itch on my nose or something, I'm going to itch away all the product and there's going to be like this weird blank spot left, which has happened. But it's something that is kind of high maintenance for me. It's something that I have to worry about touch-ups throughout the day, and it's something that I show in the demo, and I'm going to go ahead and insert the clip now of me applying it to the side of my face. You can see that the coverage is actually pretty decent. I do have a bit of redness on my face and some hyperpigmentation from old acne spots, so there is things to cover on my face, and I feel like this does a pretty good job. However, I feel like it looks like foundation, and I feel like it looks really unnatural on the skin. It kind of lays on top of the skin and bunches up around any raised areas. It settles into fine lines for me, and it's something that moves around a lot throughout the day, which I did also notice with my NARS Luminous Weightless Foundation. I found that to be very high maintenance, very much would settle into my fine lines and all that. So I don't know if it's something that happens with the NARS formulas with my skin, or if it's just I just so happen to get the two NARS products that do that. I do like that this has SPF 30. I do notice though that it smells like banana boat, which doesn't necessarily bother me, but if scents bother you, that might be a big deal. It's not overwhelming, but it is just something that, once you're putting it on, you can smell it. I do wish this had a pump though, to kind of circle back to the fact that this creases up. This does claim to cover fine lines and wrinkles to hide them, so the fact that it goes right ahead and settles into my fine lines is disappointing. But I do feel like the less you use, the less you have of that, but no matter how little I use, I did still notice it, so it's something that I have seen no matter how much product I use. However, I wish there was a pump so that you got the same amount of product out every time. I feel like with this, knowing that less is more, I find I either waste product or I'm not putting out enough on my palette at a time. So I do wish there was a pump so I could be like, okay, I know it's one pump or 1.5 pumps or half a pump or whatever it is. So that is my pros and cons of this one. Now moving on to the Urban Decay Naked Skin One and Done. This is an SPF 20. I do not notice that it has a scent. It is much lighter coverage, which I'm going to go ahead and insert the clip now of me applying this. So you'll see it's much lighter coverage. It's definitely much more like a BB cream. And I find that this doesn't cover my freckles, which I actually like. I think when I put this on, I'm left feeling like I have like good skin. I feel like this makes you look like you have just naturally good skin. It doesn't look like you're wearing any foundation. It doesn't look like you have anything on your skin. It doesn't look like the NARS one where it goes over my freckles and leaves that foundation cast over them, so it looks like covered freckles, where this one I feel like lets my freckles shine through without looking like they've been covered by foundation or whatever. I feel like this one I could throw on and go to the beach or whatever and be totally happy with the way my skin looks. And I know it's only SPF 20, but it's something that I could use in conjunction with my other sunscreen and just feel like, you know, my skin is covered. So this one I do like a lot. It's very, very lightweight. I don't notice it on my skin at all throughout the day. It dries down very nicely. And both of them, I can say that concealer goes over them very well. They both change the texture of the skin just enough that when you put concealer over top, it doesn't look out of place. Something that I notice that if you're wearing just concealer and nothing else, sometimes the delineation of texture between the concealer and your skin is noticeable, but this definitely helps with that. So I do wish it had a little bit more coverage. I don't know if then that would ruin the whole doesn't really cover the freckles in a noticeable way thing. But I do notice that it does not settle into my fine lines. It sets really nicely and it doesn't accentuate any dryness or any pores or whatever. It just kind of looks like skin. It melts into the skin really nicely no matter how I apply it. You'll see that I applied both of these today with my Artis number 7 brush, and I just think that it just looks so much more natural than the NARS side. Even right now as I'm sitting and looking in the mirror in front of me, it's like I can see all of my pores on this side of my face, and this side of my face just looks nice. Like I feel like there's just texture everywhere that I wouldn't really notice otherwise. You know, I don't notice on this side, but I just feel like it's my skin just looks caked, even though I didn't use very much. I didn't put powder over this except for where I put concealer under my eyes. So to have it feel that way, feel that it looks that way is kind of, I don't know, I don't like the finish on the skin. And I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with the fact that it's matte, since I dumped highlighter all over my face, so it's definitely not lacking for luminosity. And even like on my nose, I feel like it just, like all of my pores are like little soup bowls of foundation where the NARS is, and it's not where the Urban Decay is. So there's also a $10 price difference between the NARS and Urban Decay. This one is $44 and this one is $34. There is a 0.5 fluid ounce difference in this. This is 1.3 fluid ounces and this is 1.7 fluid ounces. So there is that. My final thoughts on these. I would skip the NARS. I would, however, get a sample of each, obviously, but you know, I would definitely recommend the Urban Decay One and Done, and I think that you would enjoy it as long as you are okay with the light coverage. I think you would totally enjoy this. But I would also recommend at the same time picking up a sample of this if you can find it. I am Finland or Light 1 in this and Light in this one. This one doesn't have as good of a color range as this one does. If you were gonna go in and pick up one, I'd pick up this one and get a sample of this one. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I am gonna be returning this one because I am at the point in my makeup collection where it's kind of pointless for me to keep makeup that I don't love. There's no reason, you know, for me to do that. It's kind of pointless anyways, but it's especially pointless when you have as much makeup as I do to do stuff like that. So I am going to return this. People raved about this when it first came out, and then I feel like it just kind of dropped off the air, you know, like it just kind of went away. So I kind of feel like every time that happens, it's because the product isn't that great once people start using it more and more. Because the first time I put this on, I was like, my first impression of it as I was putting it on my face was like, oh, this is awesome. It's high coverage, blah, blah, blah. But then as I wore it and wore it and wore it, I was like, yeah, I don't like this. So that's kind of how I can always gauge whether or not things are actually good on YouTube, is if they survive talk after the first few weeks of being out. I have heard a bunch of things about this. This has been in a bunch of favorites. I think it's a little bit newer than the NARS, but we'll see. As of right now, I can tell you that I'm going to keep using it. I'm already looking forward to using it in different situations. It's getting on into summer for me, and I know that this is going to be something I reach for quite often. So that's that. I'm gonna stop rambling about it now. Let me know what you guys think down below about these two products if you have them, and if you don't, which ones you are wanting to try. I do think that there's pros and cons for both. Personal preference. It totally comes down to personal preference. Some of you might try the NARS one and be like, what are you talking about? I don't feel it at all. You know, I think that NARS foundations so far have been pretty polarizing. You either love them or hate them. I know that the Luminous Weightless, it was either like, oh my gosh, this is the best, or like, this is the worst foundation ever. So I think that just might be how NARS is with people's skin. So other than that, that's it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone!